Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to the space between ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. Welcome, welcome. Today I have a presentation to give you. So the thing is that, well, you know what I'm building? I'm building like a website. It's like a tool for managers, and the tool has a pretty robust methodology behind it. And I've been working with, I've spoken to more than 400 people for over 4,000 hours over the last 4 years, 444. And now it's time to take it to the next level, which means that I have an actual business. I have a software product, and then I'm going to start building some of these well information, like a social media presence, and building the educational videos, and building, bringing everything together and releasing the product to the public. And we're getting ever so close. So I contacted a company in the Middle East, and they said, hey, we like we like what we're seeing, we like your content, but we want to see you give a real presentation. So they asked me to create a presentation. In fact, they asked me to create the series, like what is my series of presentations. If they like it, then they send me to the Middle East to start doing training with businesses. This would be a really big upgrade, because what I've been doing right now is it's all like one-on-one coaching. The 400 people that I spoke to, they're all business managers and people from all over the world, and it's just been one-on-one. And the main focus of my experiences with them has been to facilitate an opportunity for them to be introduced to new ideas, and then to take and then but mainly to get them to speak. I wanted them to speak for more than 50% of the time. They wanted to improve their business English. They wanted to understand how to talk about these things and then bring these ideas into their own management processes and into their own trainings. So you could say that I was like a trainer, a coach that is helping managers both to manage and also to teach their people these ideas, and these and have and use these thinking methodologies in their own work. Now it looks like I might have the opportunity to now give presentations. A presentation means I'm not going to have the same level of feedback. I think that it's good when we talk about the concept of like there was a book called something about like the mother test or the mom test or something, and the mom test, it was really about how you get customer feedback. And the main idea of the book was that this gentleman, he was asking his mom about like whether or not she would buy his idea, and he used very leading questions in order to get the answer that he wanted out of his mother. And the thing is that, like the mom test, the first half of the mom test, it's about asking questions and making sure that when you're talking to potential customers, that you're getting enough feedback and you have certain types of questions that enables them to express their thoughts and feelings, rather than telling them what you think they should think and feel. So by talking to 400 people, either I'm like super, super manipulative and I've forced all 400 people to agree with me, or or some percentage of these people were able to express themselves, and I was able to, over time, to change the thoughts and ideas and methodologies to something that I believe is useful for the general public. Hopefully, what that's done is given me a basis for presenting my tools and methodologies. I better check the audio rather than continuing to talk, because at some point, if the audio. Okay, good. The audio is working. Okay, so let's continue. Oh, yeah. Also, the reason that I need to check the audio is because I want to. There we go. I need to share my screen. So what I want to do is I got a presentation. I'm going to be giving these guys like a sample presentation. There we go. So I just want to look at what does my presentation look like. What happens if I click slideshow? There we go. Oh, good. It's showing. Check my audio again. Let's check. Okay, perfect. And just turn this down a little bit. All right, here's my presentation. This is the first presentation in the series of presentations that I'm going to be giving. Hello, everyone. My name is Blaine Gates. Since this is our first time meeting, let me tell you a few things about myself. When I was a young lad of 23 years old, I decided that I wanted to be able to speak Chinese. So I moved to mainland China and I spent 12 hours a day in the cafeteria writing Chinese characters year after year until I was able to finally learn the language and I was accepted into law school. Law school was grueling year after year, writing by hand, writing the exams in Chinese characters. But eventually I graduated. I got a job with a international law firm and a US based international law firm, and eventually worked my way up the system until they asked me one day to be a business manager, a business developer. Like I wasn't able to go with the contract with the partner path because um, even with a Chinese a law degree, that didn't enable me to actually get a lawyer license in China because I'm a foreigner. So they said it's fine. You can still do the same things we're doing, but you just do it from a different angle. They said, all right, so let's go do business. Well, the problem was that I had got a law degree. I did a law degree, and I understood how to write legal stuff, and I understood how to do legal research, and I understood how to solve problems, legal problems, but I didn't understand how to do business. Eventually, I was thinking about how am I going to start my own business, and eventually, I even moved to Silicon Valley. I figured, China's the best place to learn Chinese, so Silicon Valley is the best place to learn business. In Silicon Valley, I went to all the different startup events. I met all the, I went to all the different places, companies, the tech companies, and I talked to all the tech people. I met lots of people. Eventually, what I discovered was there are an awful lot of thinking tools. Thinking tools and thinking methodologies are what people use when they're doing business. Of course, we all know that a business is, you basically have to have a product or service. And then you have an office or a store, or maybe it's an online store or a website where you're going to be selling access to those products and services. And then you have some way of reaching out to customers with marketing messages and sales and bringing them in to your website or bringing them into your office, bringing them into your showroom in order to get them to buy those products and services. Thinking tools and thinking methodologies are all the different ways that you solve that problem. You do that thing. And as I started to learn these thinking tools and thinking methodologies, I decided to move to Russia to learn the Russian language, also to work with businesses and managers. That's when I started working with managers in order to discuss thinking tools and thinking methodologies. What I discovered was that I really love thinking tools. Over the last 6 years, I've developed a series of lectures or trainings called the Game of Business, where we talk about the game pieces, the game flow, game structure, and game performance. Today, we're going to be talking about game pieces. And specifically, we're going to talk about the corporate menu. We're not going to be talking about the RACI matrix. We're just going to focus on the corporate menu, and we want to answer the question, where is the weakest link? All right, so let's talk about game pieces. Anytime there's a guy named Vince Lombardi, let me just read this. It says Vince Lombardi is carried off of the field by his players after defeating the New York Giants 37-0 to win the 1961 NFL championship. And this is Vince Lombardi. Now, Vince Lombardi, you can see that they won the NFL championship 37-0, so he must have been doing something right. Question, what was the very first thing he did? There's a story, well-known story, that the first thing that Vince Lombardi would do every year when they came together at the beginning of the season, that he would pick up a football and he would say, "This is a football." He would start with the fundamentals. He wanted to make sure everybody on his team understood the fundamentals. And it's by developing your understanding of fundamentals that we're able to build on those fundamentals more complicated, more interesting, other things. This is a game piece. Whenever you're playing games like chess or checkers, you need to understand how the pieces move on the board. And in order to understand the pieces and how they move on the board, you have to go piece by piece, and you have to focus on what this piece is, what it represents, how to use it, and how it moves. All right. And when you understand how all the pieces work together, usually you're going to understand different workflows, how they pass information around and how they work together. So that's what this link is all about on the right side. What's important is that in the middle, we have this magnifying glass. So your job today is you want to think about the things that we talk about, and in order to find the weakest link in your organization or on your team. All right. Now, let's just talk really basically. What are the pieces? Let me explain what the pieces are. So we have something called eyes. These are the executive role. The eyes represent vision. Second is heart. The heart, you can look at it in two ways. It could be a manager. So that's somebody who is managing systems and people with infrastructure, or you could just think of it as the person who takes the messages, the decisions of the organization, and they flow throughout the organization. Next is the brain, and we have two different types of brains. We have the brains which are analyzing what's happening on the factory floor, and we have the brains which are helping people, training people, and helping people to understand what to do on the factory floor. And finally, we have the hands, and those are the people who are actually doing the work, the service, building the products, and managing what's happening in the business. So like I said, we need to figure out in your business, where is the weakest link? This brings us to the corporate menu. As you know, a menu is made up of a variety of categories. In this image, you can see there's the category called main course and a category called appetizers. And then you can see there's 3 dishes in the main course. You can see 3 types of appetizers. It's the same thing when it comes to the categories of our game pieces. You can see that the eyes and the heart are in charge of making decisions. The brains are talking about thinking frameworks and data analysis. And finally, we have people that are following orders and rules. Those are the hands that get things done. Some of the questions you might ask, if you go to the factory floor, these hands, what are they asking? They're asking what's happening and what do we have to work with? The thinking frameworks and data analysis, they're asking questions like, what can we do? How can we do it? And how sure are we? And finally, we have making decisions, which is basically, have we double checked potential solutions? What do we mean by double checked? As you can see in the analysis section, we have this thing called, what can we do? How can we do it? And how sure are we? So in the middle, the analyst is going to be providing some suggestions, some advice to the decision makers. And what you'll notice is that this system creates a type of cycle. And we're going to go through that cycle right now. All right, so the technician, as you can see on the right, if we use the example of a grocery store, you have this gentleman here. He is picking up the packages from the truck. This lady is putting the packages onto the shelf. This gentleman is putting the package into his cart, and then he's driving home with that package. So in this business, you can see that a grocery store, it's a type of logistics company because it's simply picking up a package, putting it on a shelf, and then you take that package home. I mean, yeah, it's true there is a selection process in there somewhere, but in general, that's what's happening is we're just moving packages around. The other 2 types of businesses are those who provide some kind of service. It means that they are fixing things, and then you have a product-based business who are creating products. The clerk, it's the person that you talk to. The clerks are mainly focused on paper. You can see in the picture you have some paper. If a receipt is paper and money is paper, they're taking care of transactions. So next is the librarian. The librarian is your IT guy. They're asking about what's happening and what do we have to work with. So all those products that are moving around the store and eventually reach the clerk, um, they have to manage the data and information within software systems. The librarian maintains those systems. So next we move to the analyst. As you can see, we have the clerk here, we have the technician here, we have some kind of IT system over here, and this data analyst is going to walk around the store and he's going to communicate with these people in order to find out what's working well and what to improve on. Eventually, the analyst is going to ask, "What can we do? How can we do it? How sure are we?" And he's going to pass his advice to the manager. Right? So our manager, he's going to take advice from the analyst and then he's going to talk to the executive about the vision of the company. And that's where the eventually the executive is going to ask the question, have we double checked potential solutions? So it's his job to share the vision of the company to allow the manager to make a decision. After the manager has made a decision, then the workflow, as you can see the information, it goes from technician to clerk to librarian to analyst to manager. It checks with the executive, and then we feed it back into the coach. And then with the coach, we're going to create some type of system to enable us to teach, to instruct, and to improve the systems which are being used by the hands. All right, so here's our coach uh, teaching people how to use our upgraded systems. And those are our game pieces, which are doing the creating the roles or following the roles of making decisions, using thinking frameworks, providing data analysis, and following orders and rules. So when you think about your business in your company, where is it that what are the pieces that you need to improve on? Where are the potential problems? And how can you make your system better so that you have that work cycle? So as you can see, I really love thinking frameworks. In the future, in our next, yeah, I think we'll just end it there. So as you can see, I really love thinking tools, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to have a chat with you. All right, so I think, thank you, Paige. So there's two things I want to change about this presentation. One thing is I need to duplicate this page because it's better if you end the presentation with a thank you slide so that everyone knows it's over. And pull this to the right just a little bit, pull this to the right a little bit. Oops. Oopsie daisies. Thank you. And I think I want to keep this guy. I like him. There you go. And then this one, I don't think we need this slide because it makes it too confusing. Because we're going from, so that's our slide about game pieces. Your assignment is to go back and figure out. It's good, close enough. All right, so there's just about that much space between. Wow. Okay, there we go. Just pull it in a little bit. Yeah. Thinking tools, and thank you. Good. All right, so I'm done with that. Now I'm going to give the presentation to a couple more people before tomorrow, and then it'll I mean, I think that my setup was a little bit too long. Took me a little bit too long to get to this slide. It used up too much time. So then I had to go faster inside of the actual presentation itself. But I think it was pretty clear with the whole concept. Yeah, I think I was going through this a little bit too fast. Like, what is happening, and what I think I should answer that question. Stick to the questions would be a little bit easier. And okay. There is actually some information that I took out, which could be helpful. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. So the thing is that okay, so this now when it comes to my business, like this is the theory of the business. So I'm going to be turning these presentations into educational material that's going to be the foundation for my marketing messages. But in practice, like how does it actually turn into an actual uh, what do you call it? An actual product. So if you know about my website, I've been building the free version of my app for quite a while, and yeah, this is what it looks like. Huh, that fixed itself somehow. Wild. Anyways, so I'm now building the paid version of this app, and there's a new dashboard I have to build. So I was chatting with my brother on the weekend, and because he has a lot of experience with ClickUp and Monday.com, and his impression and my impression is the same, that this concept of a scoreboard, what I call a scoreboard, is is the same thing that you'd see in ClickUp or Monday.com. It's this concept of a task management status, person, date. That's the concept behind a scoreboard. And what's the benefit I'm trying to what am I trying to bring to the table? So the one of the issues I've been having with my score is like so Project Arrowhead, it's a bunch of steps that you're going to go through to help you to decide what needs to get done. At the end of the day, what do you want to do is you want to create your task list management. The issue with the task list management is that okay, so some of these items are for Nikita, Emily, Blaine, and some are in progress, some are to do. This is when we talk about task list management, this is the manager's dashboard. And what I found is that it's not hasn't been very useful for me to use the task manager dashboard when I'm taking the role. See, this is the role of a manager, and I need to be in the role of like hands. I need to actually get the work done. So that's when another dashboard called the Rabbit Race Goal Tracker. So this week, for example, with my Russian and French, so today or tomorrow, I'm going to make a video, my French dialogue video. The next day, I'll do a Russian exercise. The next day, I'll do a Chinese video. I speak three languages outside of English. It doesn't necessarily have to be day one, day two, day three. I should probably change this to step one, step two, step three, because these are subtasks. So the purpose of your big goal is the task in the manager's task list. And then I need to have the subtasks so that because when I'm doing the actual work, I need to break it down into smaller pieces. And then after I complete some item, then I can show how I'm making progress with that item. Now you might say, well, you can already do this with ClickUp. Okay, it's fine. Like this product isn't for everybody. It's for me and it's for helping me do my work. And I think that some people they might be interested in the in my tools. See, the thing is that up and then the Rabbit Race Goal Tracker. Oh, wait a minute, that's also ClickUp. So it means that ClickUp has both of these functions. Where's the value proposition? The value proposition for me is this little section here called touch base. So the question is, what are you working on? Meaning which task are you working on in the scoreboard? What are you going to do today? Which means what is the subtask that you are focused on? And then the question is, what do you need help with? And what are some potential sources of assistance? What that means is when you are managing an employee, then what's your question is like, okay, what is the next? And then they're like, yeah, I'm having problems with this subtask. And then my question is, all right, what's the blocker? What's the issue that you're trying to figure out in order for you to get that subtask done? Now, there is one little thing that I'm thinking about adding, which is like a little dial up here on the right. I had this in the back of my mind. I had this idea that sometimes I'm not really sure what to do. And this goes back to the Coke and Pepsi competition, or you might say the McDonald's and KFC competition. The idea is that when you're on a campus and you see a Coke machine and a Pepsi machine, the choice is between the Coke and the Pepsi rather than a soft drink or not a soft drink. And when you go to the metro station or the bus station and you see a McDonald's or KFC, then it gives you the decision between one fast food or another rather than like one fast food or a grocery store. So what I want to do is what I think would be a nice facilitation trigger is to, or maybe it's a spark trigger. So I guess it would be a spark trigger. It would be that I would take like I want to highlight. So I want to be able to click on like two of these things, and then when I click on them, then it would like, or I could just click and drag, and then it would be like a dial. So there'd be two potential things I should do next, and then I could just click on one. It would turn green. So that's the one that I'm working on right now. And then there would be another task on the other side, so that when I finish this task, I already know what the task is that I can do. So when I move this guy over, that 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 one would be empty, and then it would say click on your next task, and then I would go and click on this. That would populate this section with that new thing. And then again, then it says like click the subtask you're going to work on next. So then I would click on that one, and then it would turn green, and then that's the one I'd be working on. And then it has like the next task here. All right, so that's about subtasks. And so this is for your hands. These are the guys who are on the factory floor. They're doing tasks. These are the subtasks that they need to do. And this is the person who's managing the tasks of the team. And then, like I mentioned, then the connection between the the connection between the manager and the hands is this concept called touch base. So that's the value proposition I'm offering is this little touch base and just generally the user interface. Okay, so then what's the next thing? The next thing when we talk like in my mind, these are tabs, right? So I would be able to click on this tab and then so the vision I have in my mind is like, well, these are four squares, right? So that we have this rabbit race goal tracker but it's more like a tab. You see, because I have all these tabs on my screen. Everyone's used to using tabs. They know how to use tabs. And like now with Google, they have like these smart tabs. So now I have like, you don't even want to see these tabs. Let me stop. Let me show you what all my tabs look like by clicking window. Look at these tabs. So Google just came out with these new little tab categories. Right? So in here, this is related to Lily. See this one's called Lily's Mountain. Lily's Mountain, as you can see, is my writing project. So the next book that I'm writing a book on like a children's series. The next book I'm writing is called Lily's Mountain. So you can see that this red tab it's related to all of my writing projects. Now you can see this is the tab that we've been looking at just now. Let me just check to make sure we can see it. Yes, we can see it. All right, so this was the presentation I gave, right? So this blue tab is related to this windsurf project. In fact, I have two different tabs, this blue tab and this blue tab. These are both related to the windsurf project. The yellow tab, this is my French and Russian. The white tab is related to the reading the news. And then the green tab, it's like my WhatsApp, my Gmail, and some other things related to some business that I have to keep track of. This is some movies that I'm watching. I don't know what this one is. Game. Oh, this is us right now. All right, so then I can close this. Here's our Rabbit Race Gold Tracker. Here's my website. So these tabs are really exciting for me. And so when I think about the business that I'm trying to build, like the paid version of the app, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing like, well, what if this was a tab? What if this was a tab? And then to select the objective. Okay, so when we talk about brainstorm and choose, all right, so that's we're talking about this, right? So here's the brainstorming, here's the brainstorm module, here's the choose module, here's the objectives module. And then over here we got the project, right? So we got the project vision, the team members, and permission. Down here we have some permission ideas. Yeah, so basically I'm talking about 5 kinds of meetings. If I'm a manager, the first kind of meeting that I have is I'm going to be discussing the vision and the purpose of the project with the executive. So the executive is the one who says, well, this is the vision and this is the purpose of the project. So you as the manager, I need you to create some objectives. All right. So then the manager can then take that instruction the uh, from the executive. They can start to talk about the objectives that they need to pursue. Now, after they have a clear objective, then they need to build that scoreboard with their team members. And then after they have the scoreboard, they need to follow up with the team members using Touchbase. And then they also need to make sure that the team members have a dashboard where they can keep track of their goals and the subtasks in order to complete their tasks. So there you go. So I have a very clear methodology behind like what is the app doing and why it's doing that. And then I also have a very strong educational feature where I'm teaching people what do these things actually mean and how do we use them. And once we have all of that in place, then that'll really help us to focus on what the Instagram posts should be about. What's our education look like? And then how do we push forward with this selling this business oriented tool? So there you go. So I got to get back to thinking, right? So I'm just fixing some stuff on the website, and then we'll get ready to take the next step. Yeah. Building the software. Thank you for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.